Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We're here, Butlins Minehead, but we found one dart himself, Mr. Peter Manley. Peter, enjoying Butlins?
Yeah, it's been, like the players say, it's been a bit cold, but obviously that's the weather conditions outside, and the players are going to get used to it and adapt, unfortunately.
Players have spiced it up a little bit, though. I'm sure you'd have loved the shenanigans we saw on stage.
Yeah, I didn't actually get to see what went on with in the Adrian and Peter's game, but again, it's heat at the moment. You're going to get that in all walks of sport anyway. So yeah, it's it gives it a little bit of flavour, doesn't it?
You've done worse as well, haven't you?
Possibly. I don't really know what you mean, Phil, but I concentrated on that part of the game.
Is it something that's gone missing a little bit?
No, not really. Obviously, more money's come into it now, and it's more serious. I mean, it was fun. I mean, I was a newsagent who worked 80 hours a week, who was doing something that you loved. So I always had a smile on my face, even with 10,000 people booing me. I loved every minute of it.
World Seniors is on the horizon. There's a lot of talk and a lot of buzz around it. How excited are you about going back to the tavern?
Yeah, I think it's great, and full credit to the guys that have finally put this together. I probably feel the same as majority of some of those bigger names like John Lowe and Bob Anderson. They would have loved to have seen something a little bit sooner from when they retired to what it is now, but that's how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. It was great to be invited. I'm not really saying any more of how or whether I think some players should be there or not be there. I'm just going to be there and enjoy it again and have a little bit of fun, and hopefully the crowd are there booing me, because I wouldn't expect any more.
Can renew a rivalry with a certain Mr. Taylor as well, someone that you shared and graced that stage with many times.
Yeah, the only thing there is I think Phil definitely will be seeded, and he will miss playing me in the prelim or the first round or whatever they're going to call it, and he may miss his opportunity. I think it's going to be cracking. I think it's going to be lovely to see people genuinely miss doubles through panicking and nerves, because none of us, if we're totally honest, haven't got the stage experience that we had. I mean, it's 14 years ago that I was last on the Ali Pally stage.
Looking ahead though, is the game still in there to cause some damage if you get it right on the day?
I still play well in different occasions, but not as often. My wife's 62, and I mean, she's former world #1 lady, and she's playing through the pandemic. She's been practicing an hour, 2 hours a day, and she drags me onto the boards occasionally if I feel like it. And that's the way forward for me, really. I've not really started anything serious, because there's no real point, because in 3 weeks' time I might be busy doing something else, and I'd rather dedicate a full 2 or 3 weeks or something like that to it, because I don't think a 3-month sudden practice is going to suddenly work and win me the seniors.
We're going to have Amarillo as well, bowing out, hosting on the walk-on.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I'll be dancing to it though, because where I used to be knackered just for one leg, I think probably the first set would be gone before I even got my breath back.
What you said earlier as well about the whole tournament, is this needed? Because darts is one of the sports where once your career's done, you lose your tour card, that's it, you just drop off a cliff. There's kind of nowhere for these players to go, is there? So is this a vital cog if it can be done right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you had that really. I mean, when you look at the Pro Tour that the PDC have got running now, they never had the undercard. And, Barry Hearn came up with this great idea, which was helped by the PDPA, to put the Challenge Tour on, because I think it was me and Alan Warren had sat in the office, and I looked at Alan and I said, I've got nowhere to play my darts now. I said, unless I go back at that stage to the BDO, which he was never going to do. I was too old for development and not good enough for pro, so the Challenge Tour was born, and at the end of the day that's going to be just as successful and bringing on the players to the form that you want them to be on the Pro Tour.
A lot of people are suggesting if the World Seniors can get it right, then perhaps long term Grand Slam spot for the winner. Is that something that you'd like to see long term if it can be done right?
I think the PDC would need to see that it's run properly first. The integrity is there with all the players, and the seriousness, and that will only come in time. I don't think immediately there should be any talk of a player from the seniors getting involved with anything that the PDC are doing.
And the game itself at the moment, it's been an historic couple of weeks. Fallon Sherrock putting up all kinds of trees in the sport. What have you made of her continued rise?
Yeah, well, I was actually there on the Thursday at the Grand Slam when she beat Mensah again, and and then to see her averaging almost nearly 99 after 29 legs toe to toe with the world number 2. I mean, it's fantastic, and other women really have got to take on board that now. And the PDC putting 20 tournaments on next year for them. They support them and turn up and don't just rely, oh, well, I can't win that because the other 2 are there. They've got to make their game better, and the PDC won't want the same 2.
Of course not, no.
So,
just with that, I know this year was a bit of an exception because of the way the pandemic's gone. It was a rush to get tournaments on. But is it also important the scheduling of these, like, it doesn't clash with things like the Welsh Open, like the second one did? Because then you've got ladies trying to get to Lakeside that are close, and they're torn. What do I do? Do I go to the ladies series, or do I try and qualify for Lakeside?
Yeah, that was always a bugbear for the men. The women are going through what the men went through years. I mean, I qualified both for Lakeside and the PDC 1 year, so you do have to make a choice, and they'll have to do the same. I'm pretty sure the PDC don't sit there going, oh, I wonder what tournaments are on and whatever. So
it was one of those things.
But any year they're not going to sit there and look at what others. They're looking at their own calendar. They're looking at obviously getting a TV schedule correct first for the year. Then the Pro Tour comes in, and you've got the other tours that are fit round it. And if it does fall on weekends, well then, I know unfortunately they've probably done theirs before ours. Well, they'll either have to change it, or we just go toe to toe, and I think we all know who's going to win.
Yeah, a lot of talk around Fallon for the Premier League as well. Is it something that you'd like to see? And if that were to happen, would that cause the PDPA some issues? Because I'm sure there'd be a few upset players that have missed out.
Well, I think you look at Fallon, but then you can look at there's other players that were quite low that have got in on different years. Players that have been up the top there that have probably got absolutely no chance of being invited, and if they got in the top 4, they would change it to the top 2. But, you'd like to think that, someone like Fallon or Lisa or whatever, I mentioned any of those ladies have got great opportunities. But, yeah, she must be one of the most marketable things out there. I can't think of... she's got to be in the top 4 of people that are talking about dart players. So, and the PDC are a commercial company that are out there to make profits for their shareholders. They're not just, they commit quite a lot of time and money into the grassroots of the game as well now, as we've done with Challenge Tour and Development Tour. And we've seen the standard of them now rise. So obviously with the women, that's what they want to see with that.
Peter, absolute pleasure talking to you at Manley, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you.